Hey everyone, I actually made myself presentable. I actually somewhat did my hair, it's not completely done. But there's many things that I wanted to talk about. And I'm trying to remember what they all are. 1 second. Oh, one of the things was about relationships. Like, people always have this idea that guys and women have different brains, which I'm gonna debunk that myth right now. We don't have different brains per se, but we do communicate in a different way. And this is what really bothers me about women sometimes. Like, women, stop living in your own alternate universe. See things for what it is instead of what you want it to be. It'll be way more helpful. It'll kind of keep yourself from getting in trouble more often, but it prepares you mentally for less hurt. When you see something that's not there, you end up hurting yourself more than that person. So, always keep that in mind. Guys, I'm not going to leave you guys out. When she's trying to talk to you, don't sit there and continue playing whatever you're doing. If you're playing Grand Theft Auto, pause it for like 5 minutes. If she just wants to talk to you about something simple, just talk to her. When you ignore her, she's going to start to nag you. And you hate being nagged. So make it easier on yourself. Take time to talk to whoever about whatever issue instead of avoiding it and acting like it's not there. When you avoid things, it's going to build up and it's going to turn into a huge argument, and she's going to talk about something that happened like 2 weeks ago and you don't remember what it was. So do yourself a favor. Plan time where you guys can talk about your issues, because it gets crazy out there when I hear people talk about their relationship problems. Third thing, don't be too crazy obsessive women. Like, I know someone who dated a girl who go through his phone. She would read all his text messages like she was crazy. Like, I'm so glad that he broke up with her. She was on another level of just do not do. And I actually will come up with a celebrity example of someone who's probably really excessively clingy, and that's why her relationships never work. Taylor Swift. Something's wrong with that girl. Every single boyfriend that she has, it never goes over a year. So what does that tell you? It's not always the guy. Sometimes it's the girl. Work on yourself before you jump into a relationship. Apparently she didn't get that memo, and that's why she kept going from guy to guy, and she ended up making all these stupid songs, and most of them are kind of redundant, but I digress. Make sure you work on yourself and your personal issues before you get in a relationship. When you have emotional baggage like that and you jump into a relationship, you end up hurting yourself. You keep damaging the relationship. You're not bettering yourself as a person. So it's kind of like, get it together, ladies and guys. Can't stress this enough. When you are talking to a girl or a woman, just be specific. When you're vague, like, I'll talk to you at another time, she's gonna panic and be like, what does that mean? Does that mean he doesn't want to talk to me anymore? Is he avoiding the issue? What's going on? When you say things like that, make sure you're specific. Instead of just saying, I want to talk to you another time, tell her when you're going to actually talk to her. Stop giving women around the world anxiety attacks. It's really annoying. But other than that, I also wanted to talk about people in general. Just, how do I say this? I don't want to say that respect is a given, because it's not. But at the same time, sometimes it's not exactly earned. So I'm going to say that it's 50-50. 50% earned and 50% given. When you only give one person one half, it doesn't really go very well. You end up starting arguments, you don't get along with their person. So even in this group, just try to respect each other. Don't argue. Agree to disagree. And just value each other's opinion. What else was I gonna say? Everyone should be responsible for the things that they say. If you don't know if something's going to offend someone, then don't say it. If you think it might offend someone, even the teeniest bit, try to find a way to say it to where it's not as offensive. Because I do believe that people should express their opinions, but like I told someone else on my status on Facebook, there's a time to express your opinion and there's a time to shut up. Like, your opinion does not need to be heard every single time. Sometimes it's just not necessary. Sometimes you really have to sit there and think about it. Like, is my opinion really necessary at this point in time? Sometimes it's not. So you have to come up with a guideline about whether or not an opinion that you want to express is necessary to be, well, expressed. So another thing along those same lines is, men, women, come up with a guideline of what you want in a partner. This whole entire jumping in every single guy that gives you attention and then getting upset that they're not what you wanted, that can be avoided by just having guidelines. If you come up with those guidelines, you'll avoid a lot of extra emotional baggage. You don't feel shame that you dated that person. In general, it would make things easier for yourself. If someone approaches you and they don't meet your guidelines of what you want in ideal partners, and when I say guidelines, I'm not talking about 6-figure salary, he lives in a mansion, he has a Mercedes. That's completely different. And I say guidelines, I mean something about his or her personality that you're really attracted to. Whether it's intelligence, whether it's kindness, or I don't know, maybe the person's really funny. Something along those lines. Make those guidelines something that you choose your ideal partner by. If someone does not meet your guidelines, then maybe you shouldn't date them. Just saying. But a lot of people don't think about that when they just go from relationship to relationship. But the problem is, when you do that, you're draining yourself. The person that you're getting into a relationship with, they're fresh. Sometimes that person has been single for a while. They haven't been attached to another person for a while. So they're not feeling the drain that you're feeling. So when you jump from guy to guy with a girl like that, you're draining yourself. Like, you're stressed out. You're thinking about how your last relationship was, and it drags your relationship down. So just thinking about those things can really make everyone in the universe's life better. But of course, people are probably going to disagree with this video on so many levels, but I feel like I'm telling the truth. And like I said earlier about Eric's post about the whole entire, women being bitter. It's a cycle. A cycle that needs to be broken. And the only way that it can actually be broken is if whoever is the one that's bitter, whether it's a man or a woman, because men can be pretty bitter too, take time for yourself. Think about why that relationship went the way it went. It doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong with you. Sometimes it might be a 50-50 chance between both people in a relationship. You did something, that person did something, or that person did something, and you just responded to what he or she did. Regardless of the situation, you should always take a hot minute just to focus and meditate on why in that relationship went the direction it did. Once you've done that, you really have helped yourself move on and learn and get closure. Sometimes you don't really need to talk to the person that you were dating to get closure. Sometimes the closure can just come from yourself and self-reflection, which is really important. Another thing that I was gonna say is a thing that really irritates me to death. Guys, don't sit here and act like you don't have feelings. Don't pretend like you don't get into your feelings sometimes, because we all know you do. So stop with the fronting, because it gets really annoying when a guy's just like, oh, well, it didn't bother me. Yes, it did, or else you wouldn't be saying it didn't bother you. So it really irks my nerves when I'm talking to a guy, even if it's a friend. He's just like, oh, well, it didn't bother me. And it's just like, if it didn't bother you, then why are we talking about it? When something is bothering you, don't sit there and bottle it up. Be honest about what's bothering you. Because women are not mind readers. No matter how much you might assume that we are, because we might assume that you are, that just creates like a whole entire miscommunication, and it leads to fights, arguments, resentment, and things that are just otherwise unnecessary. So if everyone just fesses up to their feelings to whoever they're dating, even if you're not dating, just as a friend, you'll make your life easier. And I know this is a really long video, but I hope you guys respond.